Welcome back to She Can, where women role models lead by example. They tell us their stories, their journeys of how they got to where they are, and share their insights and experiences to support and guide others. Welcome and good morning to Alexandra Wood. You are the founder of Alexandra Wood Bespoke, the first female Savile Row tailor. So you are a female tailor for men on Savile Row, and you're revolutionizing traditional tailoring, building a modern business rooted in tradition.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited, Alexandra, because obviously you are the first one. And tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, so it's interesting saying tailor. I always say I'm a visionary because I see in pictures. And so really it's sort of creating that transformation for my clients. And that's originally where it all started. But yeah, I've been running my business for 18 years. I started it when my daughter was born. So seemed like a great time. But it really was a hobby in the beginning, mainly for full transparency, to be able to stay at home with her and having my own income and having my own time. And then as the years went by, and I had a friend say to me, "You're really good at that," and I said, "What do you mean that?" And she said, "Well, that guy was like okay looking, and then you worked your magic, and it was like, whoa, he looks amazing, like smoking hot." And I was like, "That's cool." And then slowly but surely people started saying, "Oh, you're quite disruptive," in a nice way. And you're doing something a little bit different. It's not stuffy and traditional, and you're sort of really transforming how men look and feel about themselves. So the core of it is tailoring, but ultimately it's transformation of how they look and feel about themselves. And it's been a campaign over the 18 years, because now it's fully acceptable for men to talk about skincare and colors, whereas 18 years ago it's like, what?
Yeah, Alexandra, so tell us a little bit more what that feels like, being the one woman tailor for men on Savile Row. What did that feel like? Did you feel like this is a community that's welcoming you? Did you feel like, what am I doing here? How was the beginning of that, and how has it changed to now?
Yeah, I mean, I genuinely never thought about it at all. I just thought, I love to do this, I want to do this. I was probably young and naive and just sort of, I didn't really have sort of a goal in mind. I just loved making men look great. So it was more focused around that than thinking, oh, I've got a battle on my hands. I'd say possibly, people in Savile Row are like, what? It's just that it can be, being disruptive and taking away from the traditions that people may not kind of invite and welcome, versus being a woman. I'm not sure which one it is, or it could be both, but I always kind of think you just got to focus on what you want to achieve and who you're really trying to help. Otherwise it's very distracting.
Yeah. So Alexandra, Savile Row is an iconic place for men's style and has been for a long time, and people come from all over the world to get suits made. How do you stand out? How are you different? How would you define your style?
Yeah, so essentially men go to Savile Row to get the best of the best with tailoring, and they need clothes that fit, a suit that fits, and actually, it does expand way beyond a suit. So that's changed over the years. But what I was finding was that they're really coming to me for the guidance and advice. So traditionally, tailors can sort of just say, which fabric would you like to choose? Because, 18 years ago, or even 5, 6 years ago, it was a navy suit, a grey suit, and that was your limits. But now there's so many different fabrics, technologies, designs that, there's a lot to navigate. So it was the guidance. And I was saying, this color looks great on you, this fit, you know, that will make your body look slimmer, this will make you look sharper. And also understanding what that busy, successful man needs. It's a very different level of elegance and refinement that doesn't scream and shout, but it's classy. So we really positioned ourselves as the designer, tailor, and style guidance all in one. So it's a 360 holistic experience. So, you know, for these very successful men to kind of say, help me look good, you know, you have to be trusted, and it's a vulnerable place to be. So I think, you know, you could call it disruptive. I call it helpful.
Yes, and it sounds like you really tailor the suits around your clients and what their needs are. What do you feel are sort of the style requests of the modern man of these times? How are they different?
Well, it's that smart casual piece, and then it's actually flowed through to the weekends. So we say from bar to boardroom, right? Bar to beach to boardroom. So it's, you know, they may wear a suit once or twice a week. Depends on the profession, but you know, the story kind of goes, oh, Alexandra, I don't really wear a suit so much. It's more that sort of smart casual piece I'm looking for. And there's a different kind of smart casual for work than there is for the weekend. And then, you know, there's going out, and these are people who have very varied lifestyles as well. So, you know, they're traveling every day, they're going to different kinds of meetings, different countries, different types of people. So there's a lot to think about. You can't just go off and buy stuff. You know, this is about pulling together a nice cohesive wardrobe and capsules so that they just can switch off from that and go, right, these work, that's it.
So you do a lot of styling on top of your tailoring.
Yeah, it's effortless. I kind of say, if you have a few key pieces, say, you know, 5 jackets, 5 shirts, 5 trousers, chinos, etc., you should be able to quite easily, you know, mix and match those key pieces without having to overthink it. You know, I think that's the key. I mean, I'm a big overthinker, so I get it. So I try to simplify my life and my client's life by having those go-to pieces, you know, because that's always the thing as well. Oh, I don't know how to put these things together. I just want them to fit. I want them to look and feel high quality. I don't want to go shopping again and again and again. So, yeah, we're kind of repositioning what that whole piece looks like. It's quite a sort of new concepts, really, you know.
Yeah, beautiful. It sounds like it is something more sustainable as well. And you know, you got your key pieces, you know what fits with what, and you have a wardrobe, and you don't have to constantly add new things to it. Alexandra, so how do you feel you lead with your style? You know, being at the helm of a business like that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very classic as well. I think about it more and more as I go along. I had to sit myself down for a consultation a few weeks ago. It's like, I need to sort my own wardrobe out, because I realized I had so much stuff. I looked like I had a wardrobe that was like someone who's going off to BAFTA awards every night. It's like, yeah, I don't live this kind of life anymore. So it's about kind of saying, you know, where am I in life for myself, for my clients? And does my wardrobe help me? Does it reflect what I need to dress and look and feel like? So I very much stick to my own simple rules, and I actually have my work wardrobe in my bedroom, and then my weekend wardrobe upstairs. So I very much compartmentalize. I think it's a good thing to do, and different seasons as well.
Yeah. Alexandra, so what do you feel are your main lessons as an entrepreneur? You've been running your own business for 18 years. That's almost 2 decades. What are your main takeaways?
It's really, I'd say, resilience, and also just sometimes, well, frequently it happens. I think it's good to know that actually sometimes you think, do I still like this? This is hard, you know, because it doesn't just flow easily because you love doing what you do. You have to, it's a business. You have to make it work, and you're always having to evolve and change. So really kind of just saying, that's all right. It's okay if I have a week of just like, maybe I'll just go and get part-time job. This is all a bit too much. But I think for me, I've always wanted to know what this looks like. I'm always that curiosity of like, oh, I need to just try that, and there's something in you that just keeps pulling you to make it work, keep making it happen, helping it grow. A little bit crazy, probably.
Yeah, that dreamer side.
Yes.
What do you feel? I mean, how do you feel? You've been so creative, over 2 decades. What does that mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, that for me is my joy because I do think in pictures. People say to me, oh, do you do sketches and then do mood boards? And yes, we do mood boards, but it's not for my requirement. It's more so that the client can see what I'm suggesting for them and they can be confident that I have taste and know how they're going to look is what they want. But essentially, I just look at fabrics and in my mind, it's like, okay, that's a suit, that's a sports jacket, that's a trouser, that goes together. And, I can create an entire collection for clients in an hour. And they go, yep, great, thanks. And then I make it. So, and that's like a magical superpower. So I think that's what I really enjoy on the creative side. And I love business as well. Like, how am I going to make this work? How can this be better? Because you have to look at so many elements of it. I think as a creative, you can start off thinking, oh, I love designing things and I just want to make for people. But actually, you need people who want your things. You need to get your pricing right, your offering right, where are you going to sell it, and other things come into play. And that's where it becomes a little bit trickier.
Yeah. Alexandra, given that even though she can and have 500 women role models on our platform, 50% of our listeners are men. So give them some tips on how they can style themselves effortlessly, which is your go-to.
Yes. Well, okay. So I think it's around 60% of a wardrobe, and that's both men and women's, is left unworn. So being really mindful about the things you have in your wardrobe and actually just spending one day pulling everything out and saying, do these clothes reflect who I am today? And really thinking about where you spend your time. So, in the office, traveling, etc., and kind of doing a really simple audit. And that's like not full on. It's literally just sketching down, okay, I'll probably spend about 50% of the time in the office, 50% flying, whatever. And then identifying what the key pieces I'm going to start off with and tending to start simply, but investing in yourself properly, kind of setting a price range budget investment that you're going to put forward towards your wardrobe.
Yeah, amazing. Alexandra, so if I asked you, what would you like your legacy to be? If you look back at your life, what would you like for this legacy to be?
Well, I use a tagline, which is be seen the way you deserve to be seen. I think a lot of men don't see how great they could really look with just a few fine tweaks. That feels very, in tune with who they are as a person. It doesn't mean you're transforming into someone else. It's just elevating yourself to go, look and feel really good, which, if you are a busy, successful man, you want to exude a different level of confidence. It's psychologically impactful as well as visually looking great.
Yeah, amazing. So, Alexandra, what would you say are your challenges as an entrepreneur, as a tailor, as a business owner?
Yeah, it's just essentially keeping everything going, constantly thinking about all the different elements and having it grow. That's I'd say it's a challenge. It is mainly because things evolve and you want things to be the best. If you have a passion for doing these things, you always want it to be the best, not just be like, oh well, that will do, because otherwise it is just the hobby it was in the beginning. You'd be like, that's nice, have a couple of clients here and there. But you're trying to reach more and more men to make that impact of having that change of image.
Alexandra, and what would you say are you most proud of to date?
The brand I've created, I think it's really cool. Sometimes, you just keep going and going, and then sometimes it's good to sit back and go, this actually looks really cool. When you sort of compare it with other things, I'm like, I'm proud of that. It really stands for something. It's very different. I've dared to be different. And, I think keeping that empathy towards myself and my clients is really key as well. Doesn't mean that when you grow a business, you have to sort of be a hard hitting businesswoman. You can be pleasant and enjoy it as well.
Yeah, that's great that you say that. Alexandra, so I'm wondering, we haven't talked about this yet. What happens when a man walks in? What is the sort of what can men expect when they walk in?
Sorry, my Wi-Fi is going a bit funny. So a man comes in and it's all quite straightforward actually, because it's interesting. They think, oh, okay, she's going to sort out everything for me. And I do. So it's really make it very easy. I look at them and see their skin tone, who they are. And I'm so used to seeing and speaking to people in different professions that it's just those pictures come up and I'm like, right, you need this, this, and this. And that is such an easy process for me because I've done it time and time again and know the stories of these people and the anxieties of what they do want versus what they don't want. So it's a very, I'm kind of going, right, what skin tone, what profession, what colours, what styles suit them, and then fine tuning it to them. Men tend to have like 3 different style personalities. So in my head, I can kind of filter into my style system, which then breaks it down into these things. But it's a very quick process for me. But if I was to say to them, we're going to do this, it would be very lengthy, but I make it very quick for them because they don't have hours and hours to talk about it. They're just like, make it happen.
Yeah, amazing. So what are your plans and goals for 2025 and beyond, Alexandra?
Yeah, so we have launched our tailored wardrobe subscription just over a year ago, but we're having more and more clients sign up to those, which means that we design for clients, we say for a year, but it's really ongoing so that they never have to shop, they never have to think about it, and everything fits. And we do a lifestyle audit for them. We tell them what colours, styles, etc. suits them for all facets of their life, and then design, tailor and style quarterly, seasons, and have it delivered to them. So it's like the most simplified version of shopping you'd ever find. So that's where we're growing our sort of subscription model in a classy membership way for men who couldn't think of anything worse than to shop and spend all that time.
What an amazing how it's incredible how easy you make their life. It sounds amazing. Alexandra,
Yeah.
so what would you like our listeners to take away from your story?
I think essentially you have to have something you love to do, because if you don't love it, it becomes a quick misery. Because those days that naturally come when you're just like, this is tough, you remember why you're doing it. That client that's head to toe wearing your things, or talking about how you've changed their life, or that should be what drives you the most.
That emotional connection. Alexandra, so my last question is a bit of a different question, but I think it's always a really nice one. If you could write a postcard to everybody in the world with one sentence, what would that say?
Oh, that's a good one. What would I say? Life's too short, so go for what you want.
Beautiful. Alexandra, thank you so much for talking to me today, for explaining your business, for telling us your story and leading with your story.